I don't know what it was. Some sort of weird delusion, a culmination of stress from days of little sleep, and caffeine spiked semi consciousness. I can get pretty addicted to coffee, but I'm not even sure it really happened last night. That moment when I left the conference building in Manhattan. Still, I remember everything. Sometimes I wake up at night with that warm, bitter taste in my mouth again, and I'm not sure if it's some sort of recurring dream. But it keeps happening, and I know I've been going back for more. It's happened over 10 times in a month, since it began 2 months ago. You sure you have a ride? I rolled my eyes. Dude, just leave it already. My colleague retorted. It's midnight, kid, and this is NYC. Pretty shady stuff can happen in the city. I tapped my watch. Julie will be here in 15 minutes, and my sis is always on time. I'll be fine. He got into his cab, flashing me an annoyed look. Alright, but try not to get mugged out here. See you later, kid. Whatever, Chad. I watched his taxi maneuver around the parking lot, then screeched down the street. Then it was just me, alone in a deserted parking lot. Everyone had already left. There weren't any public benches of any sort, and I soon got bored standing and waiting. First, I played Candy Crush, but my phone shut off inexplicably after 5 minutes, even though I remembered charging it in full that morning. With nothing else to do, I started looking around. Just 10 feet away, I noticed a large blue and lime green vending machine that I hadn't seen before. I must not have been paying attention. Since I was bored, I decided I'd waste $1 buying some overpriced snack, just to pass the time. Julie was taking a long time to get here anyway. It was a really weirdly designed machine, with all these carnival lights and little kid button things like a clown-themed Nintendo game on crack. It looked like it was marketed to 6-year-olds who liked tie-dye and an overdose of colors. Across the top it said, the all-new, improved, universal beverage and snack machine, in big, bold capital font. On the right side, it looked normal, with a bunch of letter buttons, a coin slot, and a change dispenser. There was a compartment that the cups and drinks probably came out of, and a push-in safety door that you'd see on most snack vending machines. On the left, it got pretty confusing. What the heck did USAM stand for? Or BRI? Or CADA for that matter? It was a weird menu in a variety of fonts and colors. There were columns and columns of initials. I had no idea what they meant. I'm guessing they all stood for some shit, and that whoever designed the stupid machine must have needed more space. Whoever made this thing must have been a raging sociopath too, because everything was extremely overpriced. Apparently, USAM cost $21,000. I thought I'd miscounted the zeros or something, but I checked it a few times, and that's exactly what it said. Is stuff seriously more expensive in the city, or has inflation suddenly gone up when I wasn't paying attention? RUSA was $10,000, CINA was cheaper, about $1,000, IDA was only $500. I looked through the list and found one I could actually pay for. KNYA, $5. I unfolded the paper bill from my wallet and shoved it in the dollar slot. The machine bzzed for a second, and then the screen blinked, flashing out, payment accepted. I pushed out the letter buttons to spell KNYA and hesitated. I was probably just wasting money. Out of boredom, too, which made doing all this pretty pointless. Julie would be here any minute now. But I'd already stuck with it so far, and who knew if this shitty machine would even give me my money back. I pressed the button marked confirm. I'm not making this part up, I swear. I heard a gunshot and a child screaming and screaming and screaming. I stood there in shock, my hand still on the button, and the machine started to move. Vibrating, grinding, churning, gurgling like a washing machine with a brick thrown in it. Thunk. A paper cup dropped into the compartment. This screaming didn't stop. It went on for a while, relentless and pleading and never-ending. There were choking sounds and suddenly red. So much red. It was like cherry soda, but thicker and redder as it poured into the cup, and gallons and gallons overflowed and kept going, frothing down the sides of the machine and pooling around my shoes. Red liquid that smelled like blood. It didn't seem like it was gonna stop. I just stood there and shut my eyes and tried to stop hearing, but the screaming wouldn't stop. Kept going and going. There was a gasping sound, and then nothing but the trickle of the machine. Drip, drip, drip. Then silence. I opened my eyes. I was standing in a pool of blood. In front of that vending machine, my hand on the bloodied cardboard cup still in its compartment. On the side, in slanted orange bubbly writing, it said Kenya, exotic new tastes at the greatest prices. Brought to you fresh, with cartoons of trees and animals and stick figures. I felt like I was gonna vomit. There was a rattle, and I heard the thud, thud, thud of other parts dropping down within the bottom of the vending machine, probably against the snack door. I didn't even need to look to know what they were. The machine shuddered again, a belated final groan. Pop, a small splash. A few droplets spilled and ran down the sides of my hand. I picked up the cup. Floating on the surface, staring back at me before it sunk down, was a human eye. 45 minutes later, I was in the front seat of Julie's car. Sorry about being late, little bro. There was a weird power outage and the streetlights and traffic lights stopped working. I would have called, but my phone's dead. I stayed silent. I know you're pissed, but I got here as fast as I could. She glanced at me, then made a turn. I stared forward. So are you gonna finish that coffee or what?